Falcon 9 is in startup.
There's that call out. The Falcon 9 is in startup. In about 10 seconds here, we should hear if we are go for launch.
Flight.
LD is go for launch.
And you heard that the LD is go for launch. So it looks like weather is in our favor today. So at T-minus 30 seconds, let's listen into the terminal count and watch as Falcon 9 takes our 60 Starlink satellites into orbit today.
Stage 1 tank pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And we have liftoff.
Vehicles pitching downrange.
At T plus 40 seconds into liftoff, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, carrying our Starlink payload out into space. Now we just throttled down the engines in preparation for Max Q, which stands for maximum aerodynamic pressure. This is the largest structural load that the vehicle will see throughout ascent. Should be coming up on Max Q in a few seconds here.
Max Q.
And there's that call out that we just passed through Max Q. In about a minute, we will have 3 events that happen very quickly, one after another. That will be MECO, or main engine cutoff, stage separation, and SES-1, or second engine start 1. And main engine cutoff is where all 9 of those M1D engines shut down to slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation, which is when the first stage separates from the second stage. After stage separation is SES-1, or second engine start 1. And this is where the MVAC engine lights up for its first burn and propels the second stage along with the Starlink satellites to orbit. And at T plus 2 minutes, we are about 30 seconds away from those 3 events. Again, that's MECO, stage separation, and SES-1. Again, it's SES-1 because we do have 2 burns of the Merlin vacuum engine on today's mission. We have a beautiful view of the first stage.
Stage separation confirmed.
And there you just watched MECO, main engine cutoff, stage separation, and that second stage engine ignite. We're just about 15 seconds here from fairing deploy, and on your right-hand screen you can see a view of inside of those fairing halves, looking at the Starlink payload as well. And on your left-hand screen is first stage, making its way back to Earth.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And there, as you watch on your screen, that is confirmation that those fairing halves have deployed. And as a reminder, we will be attempting to pick up the fairing halves after they touch down on the water with our recovery vessel, Miss Chief, today. Now, with stage 2 well on its way to orbit, stage 1 is now heading back to Earth and will perform 2 burns on its way down.
Acquisition of signal Bermuda.
The first is the entry burn to assist in slowing the vehicle down as it passes back into the Earth's atmosphere. This will be a 3-engine burn, starting off with the center E9 engine and followed not too long after by 2 additional engines reigniting. Then the second and final burn for the first stage will be the landing burn, which is just a single E9 engine, and that is enough to rapidly slow down the vehicle to allow it to touch down on its landing zone. And again, for today, the landing zone is just read the instructions, which is currently out in the middle of the ocean waiting for this booster to come back. Stage 2 is looking good and nominal. Got a nice view of that MVAC engine on your right-hand screen. Stage 2 is taking our Starlink payload to its targeted orbit, and these 60 Starlink satellites will join the constellation already on orbit, which are designed to provide high-speed, low-latency internet to people here on Earth, and especially to places where good internet is really hard to access. It's just after T plus 5 minutes, so we're just about a minute away from the entry burn beginning on the first stage. Entry burn will be...
Trajectory.
There's a call out. The vehicle second stage is on nominal trajectory. That entry burn will last about 22 seconds long. And you can see on your left-hand screen the first stage, the grid fins are deployed, but they actually don't start steering until after entry burn. That's because it requires the atmosphere and air to be flowing through those grid fins. Got some really awesome clear views on both the first and second stage. You can see Earth in the background. We're just about 15 seconds or so away from that entry burn on the first stage.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn steward.
And there you can see the entry burn has begun. And as you saw, the plume started out small and then got larger, and that's because we light up the first single engine and then followed by 2 additional engines on this entry burn for a total of 3.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
And entry burn is now complete. As you see, those engines have shut down. So next up, in about a minute or so, will be that landing burn for the first stage. And as I mentioned earlier, it will just be the center.
All nominal trajectories.
It will just be the center E9 engine for the landing burn, and that's enough thrust to slow the vehicle down. The M1D engines have 845 kilonewtons, or 190,000 pounds of thrust. Again, that's enough to slow this very large vehicle down to touch down on that drone ship that you see right there in front of you. That's just read the instructions. And this will be the 3rd landing for this specific booster. About 20 seconds or so away from that landing burn beginning. It was a very clear and beautiful day over there in Florida, so hopefully we get a nice, beautiful view of first stage landing.
Stage 1 landing burn.
There's confirmation, stage 1 landing burn. You can kind of see that burn kind of shaking the camera there.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
Seco.
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And we had a little bit of a rough camera view there, but the Falcon has landed on our drone ship for its 3rd landing on Just Read the Instructions. This marks our 63rd successful recovery of a Falcon first stage and the 11th for Just Read the Instructions. And looks amazing as we can see it there now, standing stably there.
Lost the signal, Cape.
Now we're waiting on your right-hand screen for SECO 1, which is second engine cutoff 1. There's that call out for SECO. We're waiting for confirmation of good orbit here.
Nominal parking orbit insertion.
And there's that call out that we are in a good orbit. So now the second stage is going to coast in this orbit for roughly 35 minutes. So we're going to take a quick break during this coasting time, but we'll leave you with an animation so that you can see where the Starlink satellites are in the coast phase. So we'll see you back here at T plus 43 minutes for the second stage engine relight. And we did get those call outs for SES2 and SECO2. It was a very quick burn, just 2 seconds long. Now we're waiting for confirmation of good orbit. Oh, there it is. And there you saw on your screen that SES2 and SECO2 happened very quickly. So we are just about 30 seconds or so away from that payload deployment. And it looks like we do have a live view. We're looking at on your screen, that is the stack of 60 Starlink satellites right there in front of us. It looks like we're getting a little glare from the sun there as well. That is because the second stage is rotating a little bit on its central axis to give the satellites momentum as they deploy. You can actually see the peak of the
Starlink
sunlight.
deploy confirmed.
And there you could see on your screen the stack of 60 Starlink satellites have successfully deployed from second stage. And what an awesome view with the sunlight hitting those Starlink satellites. And right there, we just watched the final deployment for SpaceX's 100th successful mission. How exciting and what an incredible milestone to reach. What an awesome view as well. The Starlink satellites will soon deploy their single solar array, and over the course of a few weeks, they will distance themselves from each other and use their onboard ion thrusters powered by Krypton to make their way to their operational orbit.